thank you everybody. First of all, please tell me if my English is too quick for anybody or anything like that. Don't worry about it. Yeah, this guy's really cool. This is Dan Ariely, very interesting researcher. You can win his book, so this is a good one. Has everybody looked at this? Is it okay to move on now? Yeah, okay. So going into the topic of it, as Kika said, she basically, we have to do it this year. So she asked me to do the first one. I kind of agreed. It's about presentations today. You know, I like this picture. It's pretty funny about presentations. Really, my name's Peter Wallin, by the way. But what the topic is, it's about presenting in a really great way, which is the main thing. It's not giving average presentations, but doing it really, really well. That's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to give you a couple of little, tips and advice. The kind of things that I do that are really successful. That if you copy them, then you can also be successful, which is important for presentations. Very important. I'll start with kind of a nice quote from a movie, sort of. Presentations are a lot like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Right? Forrest Gump reference. Usually you get very boring presentations. It's very, very common. And what I tried to do for this next part is really find the most useful sentence that really puts together what you need to think about when it comes to presentations. It's very important. Essentially, when you're going to present and you're going to give a presentation, what you have to do is intensively focus on the challenges, the most difficult challenges that are within the sphere of concern for your audience. Or it is occasionally true that they will be in a position where there are no apparent obstacles that are in their way. In that case, you just got to do your best to kind of really imagine the hypothetical things that could come to pass. That's very, very important. If you can't focus on that one, you're really going to struggle. So that's really important for you to take away. And a tip, I apologise, I'm going to use Slovak here, and my Slovak is not very good. What's that? What do you see? Products, or match, sources, right, sources. Yeah, good presentations are very important. Bez omačky. If you don't speak Slovak, that means with no source, just focus on the main topic. Another really big one that, it's kind of a real sin of presentations, which we talked about as a topic, is not getting your audience right. And I made this little graph. It's just a little bit of research that sometimes you might be presenting to members of staff, sometimes to managers if you're in a job, and sometimes to students. Are some of the people here students? Some of you students? Yeah, a few people? Okay. So what's basically important is if you look at the different things that go into it, then in terms of content and slides, that's really where managers live. That's where they're happy. So you want to focus on that one. Jokes, not so much. Yeah, managers don't like jokes. They're very, very serious. Whereas students tend to love jokes. So I'll do my best to tell a couple of jokes today. But honestly, the content, most of the time students are asleep in presentations, so you don't have to worry about it either. Obviously, staff is kind of somewhere in the middle. You just got to mix it up. So yeah, that's the key thing. The numbers are not that crucial, but gives you an idea, something to think about. Quick question for you. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me how this presentation is going so far. Is it great? Charles, so what's wrong with that? It's got colours, it's got numbers, I don't know what it says. That data, do you know how long it took me to create that fake data? That's like fake news, hashtag. Okay, so what's going on? Tell me what's happening here. This is where you get to say bad things about me. It's okay. So, John was terrible.
So say that when you are starting with graphs, you are starting to lose the audience?
Oh, start with graphs and lose the audience, that sounds good. Anything else? What's wrong with that? Actually, this is the one I really like. Yeah, that's like Star Wars. It's only like 55 words. It's not that. Is it that one? Okay, so yeah, huge, massive text on the slide.
You can start with agenda.
I could have started with an agenda, yeah. Okay, right, so anybody confused where I am, where we're going? Where we'll end. Thank you for the honesty, I like it. Yeah, when am I going to finish? get off the stage. I do like these pictures. It took me approximately 4 seconds to find them on Google Images. What do you like about this slide?
Format.
Yeah. Check out the way I matched those pixels. Yeah. Boom. Boom. And honestly, I wasn't looking for brands. What's wrong with the font? It's... Yes, obviously there's the challenge. This is particularly for the Slovaks. Certain fonts don't render in the same way. I learned this one by mistake. So, good thing to know. Yeah, my graph. Do you mind if I take this off, by the way? I've been sweating like crazy in this one. So what's happening? What's happening is the kind of terrible presentation that is relentlessly common. It is common so often in the presentations we see. Most people can't talk well in front of an audience, in public, which is a real shame. Because every single person I've met, and I met hundreds of people, thousands of people, I've trained hundreds of people, have fantastic ideas. They have cool things to say, they have cool concepts, they have a great way to connect with people, but they just lack the ability to stand up and connect. Would anyone like to stand up and give a presentation right now? Okay, I didn't think so. It's a very common thing. It's a very common thing. What I'd like to share with you tonight, and what you can kind of gain from it, is some of the things that people do wrong and that cause us to lose our audience, that cause us to fail. I've done many of those things in the last 5 minutes or so. I actually really enjoyed preparing that because my colleagues and I, most of whom were at the back, were saying, all right, what's the worst things we can put into the presentation? We were designing that PowerPoint together. My colleague, Arnold, in the white shirt, look at him smiling. Look at him smiling. He said, no, do the font thing, do the omaczki, do the font thing. So we had a great time designing terrible PowerPoint. I apologize for not smiling to all of you. I was doing my best, poker face. I've highlighted 7 sins, 7 mistakes that many presenters make that really cause the message to lose power. And that's the biggest thing. Something very important for you to think of in terms of presenting. You have a chance to connect to people, but you also have the chance to slowly kill people. And I don't say that in a nasty way. I'm not going to kill you. I'm very small. I'm very safe. It's okay. But I imagine that there are, how many of you here tonight? About 40 people? Maybe 50, I'm not sure. And the presentation is going to be 1, maximum 2 hours, which means each of you will be 2 hours closer to death. 2 hours closer to dead by the end of my presentation. Depending how badly I do it, you may feel 10 hours closer to death. I don't know. When you present to people, you're taking a lot of time, you are taking a lot of their energy, and this is time that they will never get back. So every time you stand up to speak to people, from the moment you start, we want to give it everything. So would you like to know some of the things people do that really don't work? This is going to be a good list of what not to do. Interested? Wow, that is enthusiasm. I feel like I just asked whether you'll vote for me as a president. Will you vote for me? Silence. No political jokes today. I'm not going into politics. We'll start. By the way, if anyone has any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I had a great time yesterday. I was actually heckled during training. Do you know heckling? That's when the comedian is telling jokes and people are shouting out things to the comedian. That happened to me yesterday in a training. It was the most fun I've had for ages. It was great. So feel free. What you don't want, the last thing you want, and the first thing to think about is this face. That's Rowan Atkinson, or Mr. Bean, you may know. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make, and I made this mistake several times today. I think I made this mistake with almost all of you. How many of you saw me before the presentation started? Just outside. Thank you. I love it when your colleagues are like, yes, actually, I saw you. Really? Yes. How did you like me when I started? No, go on, you can say it.
No, I didn't like you.
Didn't like me? He really said it, didn't he? I thought you didn't like you. Why not? Why not?
I had just imagination that you are some small guy with strange clothes and you will be speaking to us about presentation. I was thinking, oh, it's weird. I was thinking that I should go out.
Thank you. I was expecting someone to say you were wearing a hoodie. I thought that was not professional. But no, I like it. We've just met and we've already broken up. I love you too. It's okay. Okay. Any other comments? Any other things? Because one of the biggest things you can do is make a poor first impression. That is one of the worst things you can do, because most of you should know, a first impression is not something you get to make again. So I know I took a risk, because I just spent the last 5 minutes doing the things I shouldn't do to make you dislike me in order to make a point, but it's also a risk that you actually take that first impression away. So be very careful of the first impression that you make. I think this is a particular one for the ladies. Could I have a volunteer, please? You don't have to do anything. Can I have a volunteer from there? You know I'm going to choose you, don't you? Helen, you know we're going to choose. Okay. I would like to do, please turn around and have a look. Have a look at our lovely Helena there. And that's okay, it's okay. Are you single? Remind me. I know that's really inappropriate to ask, isn't it? Well, for this question, you are. And so am I. Okay. So what I want you to do is just watch her face. Just watch her face. So you're in the bar, and you're just hanging out with your friends, and a guy comes up to you. He's attractive, he's a good-looking guy, and it seems quite nice. He says, "Hey, does your head hurt? After you fell down from heaven?" I don't know if you watched her face, but that was magic. She's really trying to be polite because we know each other. Be honest, ladies, I'm sure that has been said to you. Has that happened to you, ladies? Some of you, yeah? Some yes, some no? There are some really good ones. I tried to look you up in the phone book, but I couldn't find goddess. Terrible. Now, if a man comes up to you and says that in a bar, what's your impression of him? How interested are you in him, honestly? Thank you for that. I'm asking because it doesn't happen to men. Men, have you had any ladies go up to you and be like, "Did you hurt your head when you fell from heaven?" All of the men are like, There are a couple of men looking really embarrassed, like, "I thought that was a good line." I said it like that. Okay. Poor first impressions sink things, and the first impression you make when you meet somebody is so powerful. The impression of your presentation is even more powerful. One of the worst things you can do, which is also one of the most common things you can do, somebody comes out and says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter Wallin. I'm a trainer, and this evening I'm going to talk to you about motivation at work. We're going to look at the factors that make people motivated and make them demotivated. I'm going to share my experiences. I'm going to tell you some stories, and so you can learn from it." Okay? That's a very common opening. Interesting?
No.
Let's try something else. Let's try opening with a bang. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the last research I saw, approximately 30% of Slovak people working in Slovakia, are actively disengaged from their jobs, which means they go to work every day hating what they do. So my question is, we've got, say, 45 people here. 15 of you hate your jobs. Who are you? Stand up. Come on, 15 of you hate your jobs. Who is it? I've asked that many times, and nobody's ever stood up yet. I think one person was like, "Oh." His manager was in the room. I'm like, "Jesus, don't stand up, don't stand up." Yes. It's the same topic. It's a topic of motivation, and one of the worst things we can have is demotivated employees. It makes people sad. But opening with a, "Hello, everybody. I'm going to do this. Blah blah. This is the agenda. Blah 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 blah." Boring. It's boring. It's not interesting. Watch movies. You ever watched the Wolf of Wall Street? Do you know that movie? Yeah. Do you remember how it starts? I'm not going to play the video today. It is a good video, though. How it could start. Leonardo DiCaprio's character moves to New York, becomes an investment guy, gets rich, drugs, prostitute, everything goes wrong. That's the movie. If you haven't seen it, it's good fun. Scorsese doesn't do that. The first 1 minute 20 seconds. Watch it on YouTube. Go and check it out on YouTube, the opening 1 minute 20 seconds. You are right in the story, immediately money, drugs, power, success, and the movie is right there. It's excellent. You need to open with a bang. Now, what kind of bang you open with would depend very much on something else. If I get my clicker right, oh no. See, bad first impressions. What's your brand? What is your brand? Who are you? Who are you as a person? Who are you as a professional or as a student? And who are you when you stand up and speak to people? And this is a very, very important thing to put in mind. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a slightly controversial joker. I like to make a lot of jokes. I like to kind of play with people. That's what I do. My colleagues don't do that. Some of them do, some of them don't. We have different brands. When you stand up, from the minute you start talking to people, they are judging you and they are measuring your brand. It's a famous quote that I read that said, every single day you live, your brand is being created. The question is, are you creating it or are other people creating it for you? So opening your presentation in your way, in a powerful way, and making that first impression should tell people exactly who you are as fast as you can. Because you've got about 7 seconds, or 10 seconds, or 15 seconds, depends on the research, but not very much time. I have to learn some more pickup lines though. I'm going to have to test that one. It could be good fun. So that's kind of sin number one. Your first impression is crucial. Make it well, and I often say the opening of a presentation is the strongest thing. If people are on your side, they will be with you for the rest of the presentation. If you lose people at the start, if the guy asks you, goddess, if you hit your head and all that kind of thing, it's not to say he can't succeed. He may still be very attractive or charming or interesting, but he's just made it a lot more difficult. A lot more difficult. Sin number one. Should we do some more sins? Are you feeling naughty? Really? Nobody? You're really good then. Oh, you're much nicer than I am. Okay, another sin. A huge sin, a huge problem is just a mistake that people make. When you are speaking on the stage, you're presenting, you're giving a speech, giving anything, it's very important. It's all about them. Tonight is not about me. It is nothing to do with me. It is nothing to do with my success, my ideas, my things. It is all about you. Because I'm taking your time. As I said at the beginning, I'm taking away an hour or two of your time that you will never, ever, ever get back in your life. If you do not speak to your audience, you will fail. You'll be egotistical, self-centered, and you'll deliver a poor quality presentation. It's as simple as that. But speaking to your audience is not enough. Just going, okay, I'm going to talk to these people. Because there's a big question. Who are you talking to? That's a very important one. Who are you talking to? Good question. Who do you talk to when it gives presentations?
Colleagues.
Colleagues? Anyone else speak to colleagues? Yeah, a few people. Any others? Who do you present to?
Customers.
Customers? Mm-hmm. Doctors? Okay. Other students, right?
Investors.
Sorry? Investors. Huh? Any more?
Suppliers.
Suppliers, okay. Anyone speak to managers? Sometimes? Alright, do you maybe present in front, I guess some of the students you present to your other students, you present to the professors as well? So this question, who are you talking to, is essential, because one of the, again, a huge mistake I see over and over is that people, they talk to the wrong audience. Or they talk about themselves. And that's a terrible mistake. I like to say someone Wallin, sir, what do you do for a living?
I'm a conference director.
A conference director. Fantastic. I don't know what a conference director does. Could you tell me?
Well, I'm heading a conference for the equity finance industry in Luxembourg this year.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. If you went to a kindergarten and they asked you, what do you do? Co robisz na pracę? What do you do?
I put some very wealthy people together in a room so they can talk to each other.
Oh. Okay. And when your grandmother asks you, what do? What do you say?
The same thing.
Same. Put wealthy people in the same room. And the wealthiest woman I marry. No, I don't. Okay, thanks, bro. Anyone else want to volunteer? Anyone got a really crazy, difficult job? What do you do, sir? Yes.
Manager, a little manager.
A little manager?
Yeah.
Or a little manager?
A little.
Well, I still don't know which one it is. The food, a small manager. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I obviously heard little manager. I said, Lidl. I shop in Lidl. Yes, thank you. Okay, a little manager. So, what do you manage, or who do you manage?
DHL. Company. DHL company.
DHL. Okay. And what does DHL do?
Courier.
Courier. Okay. And how would you explain that to kindergarten people? Okay, so the key thing is, not that you have to answer it, is to be able to simplify your message and talk to the audience who you have. I've seen many presentations, fascinating, interesting presentations, and this one is something that goes throughout the entire message because you cannot mix it. I listened to a great presentation recently about blockchain and Bitcoin, which some of you have heard of, cryptocurrency, some of you know a lot, maybe some of you don't know anything. And the presentation was all about kind of an introduction to it. If you've never heard of it, this is what it is. Except he completely forgot to actually define blockchain and Bitcoin. So if you don't know what blockchain is, you end up confused because he's giving you an introduction to something while missing the key words. It's like if we go at the bezomačky. If I'm speaking to non-Slovak people, that's a great message, but it speaks nothing to them. Talking about yourself should be obvious. You should not care who I am. Or if you do, it should be very secondary. Because the next question that comes up is the most important question. And for this question, I will ask the help of Skeptical Dog. Who is skeptical? What is the most important question for anybody? Anybody who's giving a presentation to any audience, ever. What is the question you have to ask?
What's the message?
What's the message? Yeah, close. Every one of you is thinking this. Or you were thinking this when you came today.
Who I'm talking to.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
That's sort of part of it, yes. It's going to connect you with a message. They are both important. No. Is it worth it? Yeah, getting closer. Getting closer. What's the aim? Yeah. We kind of going around the topic. I like it.
What's my goal?
What's my goal? Okay. Similar to the message. Was it?
Am I boring?
Am I boring? Yeah, that's a good one. Somebody had said back there, I missed it. What's the message? We kind of already had that one. All of these are good. All of these are good questions. The bigger question is, that's what everybody in the audience is thinking. What's in it for me? Every one of you is thinking in some way, why do you, as individuals, benefit from listening to this presentation? Did anybody come here to help my ego? Ah, nobody? Well, fine. Be like that. Did anyone come here because you would like to improve your presentations, personally or professionally? Yeah? Do you all want to know what you can learn and how you can do it better? Surprise, surprise. We're human. We are selfish. I say this one with nothing nasty. I care about myself, my life, my family, my goals and my success more than I care about you, your family, your life, your goals and success. It doesn't mean I want anything bad for you. Absolutely not. But if I have to choose between you and me, it's a pretty obvious choice, right? I mean, yeah. No? Okay, no, maybe not. And the same thing for each of you. Each of you would choose yourself, your life, your goals over mine. And it's not about being selfish, it's not about fighting. It's about changing our message to match what our audience needs. An example of this one came, some of you may have known, or many of you may have known HB Reavis. It's a construction company. They're the ones who built the new bus station and building the giant towers all over Bratislava. I worked with them on a presentation for new hires. So people who join HB Reavis get the presentation from HR about the company. What do new hires need to know about a company? Imagine you're just starting your first job. What do you want to know?
The value of the company? The value?
The value, kind of what's the hodnoti? What's, yeah, the values, what's important for them, right? Lunch hours, yes. That is important, that is important. Anything else? Social program, okay. Salary? Well, probably you've already agreed that one in the interview. If you go on the first day, I'm like, well, I know we agreed a salary, but I would like more. Okay, cool story. Did anyone see the news from Canada? 500 doctors have just complained that they got a salary increase. They said they don't want it. Because there's not enough money in the healthcare system, so take our money and give it to the patients. Fantastic. Next week, Slovak doctors. Or English doctors. I'm being cynical. Okay, so all of these points are very good points for new hires. They had a wonderful slide about HB Reavis, about The company started 20 years ago and it had this much, this many square meters of offices and this many employees in 6 countries. And it was just a facts sheet, right? Interesting? For most people, no. But one thing they missed, and they asked, how many of you would like to work in a company that's growing, that's moving into new things, and it's dynamic and changing? How many of you might be interested in that? Yeah? Yeah, I see some people saying yes, yeah, that could be quite interesting. HB Reavis took 20 years to make, they've been in business about 25 years, I think, 20 years to make 1 million square meters of offices. And in the next 4 years, they will double that. They already have another 1 million square meters in their construction pipeline today. That's a company that's doubling in its size in terms of production in 4 years. That was in there. That information was written there, but nobody was connecting it to the audience. Would you like a very simple tip to how to do this? Because it's kind of a big question, right? Would you like a simple tip? Yeah? Yeah. This is an English lesson tip. I used to be an English teacher. Take I, change to you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I will tell you. Translate that for me. You will learn. I'm going to share some stories. You will hear some stories. What I have for you today, what you're going to get. This simple language change. Ladies and gentlemen, today you are going to learn 7 of the things that if you do these 7 things, your presentations will be less effective and you will not connect with your audiences. The language is all you. It's not I, it's you.
Sorry.
I don't mind, we're broken up. It's like, whatever. Is that your new girlfriend, is it? Oh dear. I can't laugh too much, I'm slightly sick and I start coughing, I won't stop. So very important, if you take your presentation, in particular your introduction, the part that is your high impact, your first impression, write it down and then translate everything into you. Can you give an introduction without ever using I, me, my? I'm not saying you'll be perfect, but the more you can change it, the better it helps people. So the sin, as I'd call it, is missing that. It's the biggest question. You miss that question, your impact will be lower, your message will be lower, because and it's not just knowing this one, and it's the key thing, it's not just knowing what's in it for the audience, it's communicating that to the audience. This is very, very important. Does anyone have any questions at this stage? No. Wonderful. Because now I get to do something I love to do. I get to talk about something I care about. That's a guitar. More specifically, that's a Crusher mahogany-bodied fan fret multi-scale 8-string. What I like about it very much, I think they're running 1080s in terms of string gauges. It's 20. I like it because it's 25.5 inch down to 28. It's going to balance the tension. These are mahogany covers over they're passive humbuckers, but they're quite hot round humbuckers, which I really like as well. And the body's got the resonance. I think they've got a twin truss rod in here, or I can't remember if it's carbon fibre ports as well. I forget which one it is, but I've been really tempted to pick up one of these, especially for down tuning and extended range playing. Are there any guitar players in the room? Anyone play guitar? Anyone? One? Okay. Do you play electric or acoustic?
Acoustic.
Acoustic. Do you play 8-string acoustic?
No.
Do you play detuned 8-string?
No.
Have you ever seen an 8-string?
No.
Okay. So one guitarist from the entire room and has never seen this. What is the sin here? The sin is very straightforward. It is overcomplication. Or, it can be the other side, oversimplification. You have to tailor it to the audience. That is a very nice guitar. It's like a €3,000 guitar that takes them 6 months to build for you. It's custom made. But to anyone here who is not a guitar player, how do I simplify why this is a special guitar? Should I give it a go? I'm going to try to speak in your language now. This is an electric guitar. This electric guitar is unusual because most guitars have 6 strings. This one has, you can kind of see it easy to hear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the extra strings are these big fat strings down here. The extra big fat strings. Which means instead of playing ding, 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 with these ones, bom, 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 it's a very low sound. Something interesting, how big is a violin? You've all seen a violin, right? You know violin? How big is a violin, approximately? Violin, yeah? Something like this? Yeah, a half a meter. And I don't know there's a Slovak, but the double bass, you know, that's the standing up one. How tall is that? 2 meters, right? Why? Why is it so much bigger?
Because the bass transmits through the body of the company.
It's a couple of things. Yeah, exactly. It's the sound, and the bigger and fatter the strings are, the lower the sound. Dum 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 dum. But you need to make them longer, otherwise they end up sounding like an elastic band, just gumichki, like. Blah, 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 blah. The problem is with a guitar in particular that if you make the guitar the same on all the strings, then either for these thin strings it's going to be really, really tight and hard to play if you match it to the thick strings. But if you match it to the thin strings, then the thick strings are going to be really, really flat and they won't sound good. So some really clever people said, well, why don't we take the nice straight guitar and do this and make it kind of an angle, and you kind of see this angle spreading across the guitar. So this is a special compromise guitar for anyone who's interested in playing this type of music. Generally this is connected to jazz or heavy metal. So if there's any heavy metal players or jazz people in the future, that's my attempt at simplifying multi-scale fan fret 8-string guitars. Did it make sense? Next question. Are you interested in trying this guitar? She's like, yeah. Keep it short. You've been a bit of death metal, right? Yeah. The black face, and yeah, go for it. That sounds good. I like that. We'll jam afterwards. That sounds good. So very important to remember this one. One of the reasons this comes up over and over is when we present, we usually present on a topic that we know, that we care about, and that we're interested in. Nobody asks me to present on, I don't know, software development, because I don't develop software. I've never done it. Nobody's going to ask me to present on the history of ice cream, because my history of ice cream is I was a kid, I tried ice cream, I like it. Done. Recently discovered lactose intolerant. Now ice cream makes me sad, which is terrible. When you speak, always speak to the audience's level of knowledge. The more you know about the audience, the easier it will be. You'll notice with these sins that they're all coming at the problem in different ways, but it's really about connecting with people. It is the same thing. Don't overcomplicate or you will lose people. Don't oversimplify or you will insult people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an instrument. It's called a guitar. You can use this to play music. That might be appropriate if I'm talking again to the kindergarten, my son's kindergarten. You know, I simplify things. As far as my son is concerned, I am a kindergarten teacher. For my work, I am a kindergarten teacher. You have to simplify. But we can't complicate. That's very, very important sin. Now up next, this is my favourite part, because this is where so many great presentations fall down. The message is good, the idea's there, everything's kind of interesting, and then something terrible happens. People open their laptops, or their desktops, or whatever, and they double-click on Microsoft PowerPoint, or Prezi, or some other software, or Apple software, whatever software you use, and they go, right, let's get some slides. You know what slides need? Slides need, bless you, data and information. That's what we need. See, she's sneezing just because of that slide. Right, that's how bad it's like. So tell me, I apologise for those who don't speak Slovak. What's going on this slide? What's the main thing? What should I be looking at?
It's too late to do that. It's too late.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's important here? What should I be looking at? This is, by the way, this is real. I don't know from which company. We use it in Maxman. We always have to like scrub the company names off it. But I've seen so many slides like this. Death by PowerPoint. Death by PowerPoint. Most people murder the visual aids and they make it a horrible thing. A visual aid is a key word. The key word is aid. If this happens and that projector stops, it doesn't change my message. It doesn't slow me down because I should know my presentation. I should be able to tell you the other three sins. The remaining sins with no more stress. And I reckon I could do that. Let's not, but pretend that I could. As soon as people start putting up PowerPoint, they do a terrible thing. They either go something like this. They throw everything on the PowerPoint. The idea is, look, if I put everything there, then the correct answer is there, right? Everything's there. That's like going out for a date and wearing all of your clothes. Well, if I dress in every clothing, then she'll find something she likes somewhere in my outfit. Well, ladies, how many, you're gonna, well, I've got 15 different types of, makeup, so just put them all on. Hi, sexy. That's how makeup works, right? Oh, no. Okay. The guys are looking at me like, no, yeah, that seems yeah, it's all right for me, yeah. Absolutely. So, death by PowerPoint, and this is something that it's a very large topic. I'd love to go into some of the details, into depth with it, but unfortunately don't have time for it. What I would say the biggest thing for you to keep in mind is, I like to use this example of a Zen garden. My cousin actually lives in Kyoto. I think this is the Kyoto Zen garden. And we just say clean up your visuals. Whatever visuals that you're using, whatever PowerPoint, whatever Prezi, whatever software, it doesn't matter, clean it up. So, do you know anything about Zen and Zen gardens? You've seen the pictures, it looks very peaceful. What's the key thing about everything in that garden?
It has a place.
Everything in that garden has a place. Nothing in the Zen garden is out of place. That's the kind of philosophy behind it. The same thing should go for every single one of your presentations. If you've ever given a presentation about numbers or data, and you put a big table of data, you had your whole, your big table up here with all of the data filled in there, and you wanted to show somebody just how much work you've done. See, look at others. Andrea, would you like to say something? Yeah, you want to show somebody, look at all this data, look at all these numbers, look at all this work I did to prepare this information. Do you know what you're actually doing? You're trying to make people say thank you. You're trying to satisfy your own ego and your own need for recognition. You're asking people to give you that in your presentation, which is a terrible thing to do, because what you should be doing is giving to the people. Now please understand, because you did a lot of work, you should get thanks. But the thanks does not come in the presentation. It's not about the presentation. We're only presenting the things that should be there. I don't care if you've got 10 million data points. I want to know what the result is. What does it mean? What is the point of the thing you are showing me? I always ask, every picture you put up, or every graph, or every chart, or everything, does it add something to the presentation? If not, delete it. I've got a lot of my job. I feel like a terrible person, because companies ask me to look at presentations, and they're like, what would you say? I'm like, delete that, delete that. Why do I care? What's in it for me? Who's your audience? Delete that, delete that. And after an hour of just saying delete that and insulting them, they go, oh, thank you very much, that was helpful. It's like I feel like the worst person in the world. It's great. Fantastic. So that's the first one. Clean up your visuals, and there's a lot of theory behind it and understanding how images and so on work. And another key one, and this is one of the biggest death points of presentations as well, is that people fight. People end up fighting their own PowerPoint. You made that to help you, and you end up fighting over it. Do you know how they do it? It's real simple. Now, what we all know, how much text should go on a PowerPoint? How many words on a slide?
A few.
A few, right, the minimum. You ever put kind of bullet points, here are the 4 key things. Something like that? Have you done that? Yeah? Yeah, it's pretty common, the key points, the kind of key text. Let me show you what most people do, and we're going to do a little experiment. We're going to talk about money. A few people suddenly paying attention. The students are like, money, I've heard of that. That's a thing people have when they're not students. And then those of us who have children are like, yes, you have money, and then you have children, and you have no money. We'll talk about money, and I've got tips for you. I'd like to help you with selling if you ever get into sales. I'm just going to give you some basic tips for sales. Those of you who are in sales will know this already, those of you who don't. This is to help you do some sales. So 4 sales tips for you. Tip number 1, very important, you always use the client's name. It's about making a connection, so use their name. Number 2, it's very important, you keep calling them. Most sales don't happen on the first call. You've got to call them 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 10 times, that's important. Third one, definitely ask them questions to understand their needs. You're not selling a product, you're selling a solution to what they need. And number 4, obviously don't apply this to romance. No means no. But in sales, no doesn't always mean no. You can often find a way around or make a deal or something like that. Okay. What do you think of this slide? By the way, I just made those 4 sales tips up. I have no idea if they are good advice. Like this, Ivan, you're in sales. Yeah? Huh? Yeah, okay, może być, okay. What's the problem with this slide? There's quite a bit of text. Agree with that one.
You don't need you to.
Sorry?
You don't need to.
What's the point of me being here? What did I say apart from this? Always use the client's name, because names are important. Keep calling them. Most sales come after time. Ask questions. What is the point of me being here? Either you read that, and you all did. I wish I could record it from my side. Every single one of you lovely people are trying to pay attention to me. When this happened and I started talking, every one of you was looking at it. Like little kids with a shiny toy. Ooh, new toy. It's natural, it's human. When something appears, we want to see it, we want to read it, we want to look at it. And the reading speed of most people is, I think, 3 or 4 times faster than the speaking speed, even in foreign languages. You were probably reading number 3 before I finished number 1. That's normal, it's what we do. This is very common. People fight their own presentations, they fight with the slides, and they're competing. If all that's there, you don't need me. And if it's all about me, then we don't need that. So we need to make a decision. Let's try it again, and I'm going to do it slightly differently. At the beginning, I said that 30% of Slovaks hate their jobs. Right? It's about motivation then. So why are people demotivated? Or ask another question. How can we motivate people in work?
With 4 tips.
3 this time, only 3. What motivates people?
Growth.
Growth, right?
Flexibility.
Flexibility? Feedback. Yeah. What makes you feel good in your work or even in your studies or anything? Fun, okay.
Salary.
Salary? Yeah, finally. Usually that's the first one. Everybody's like, oh, well, I want to say money, but I don't want to sound like I'm talking about money. I better think of another one. Yeah. Okay, salary is a big one. Interesting thing, though, once you take away salary, and I don't mean that you don't pay people, don't take away their salary. Paying too little is very demotivating. If you are not paid enough, it's very demotivating, it's horrible, it's scary, it's unpleasant. But paying people more doesn't make motivation go up very much. It's very interesting. But once you do pay people enough, you don't have to be rich, but you're paid enough that you feel okay, there are 3 factors that come into it, 3 factors of motivation. Now what I want you to pay attention to particularly here is, notice the way I'm working with this one. The 3 factors are autonomy. Autonomy is a sense of freedom. Autonomy is the idea that instead of saying, okay, sir, you should do A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and you should do it this time in this way, I'd say, I'd like you to give me D. You manage it. When given the freedom to manage things in their own way, most people really value it. How much autonomy you give depends on the job, depends on the conditions and position. People value freedom. Nobody likes being told what to do. I should ask that. Most people don't. I don't know what you do in the bedroom. That's your choice. Maybe you like it there. I don't know. Wait a minute. This is being recorded, isn't it? As I said, I'm controversial. Autonomy is essentially this. Feeling I can do it my way. Feeling that my creativity and skills are respected. Now once we have some autonomy, what's the second factor? What else motivates? What else connects with us? Mastery. Now we share the guitar playing. Does anyone else play a musical instrument? Anyone play something? What do you play?
Piano.
Piano? I've always wanted to play that, it's nice. Anyone dance for fun? Do dance classes? Yeah, a few people. Sports? People like sports? What do you like? Volleyball, right? Are you a professional volleyball player? No, okay, no, just checking. Okay. And lots of other things. Some people like video gaming or watching TV or all sorts of different... There are many, many things. Why do we do those things? Why do you play volleyball? You're never going to get paid for it.
I like it.
You like it? And?
It's fun.
It's fun. And? We get better. We improve. Mastery is the feeling that I'm learning new things and I'm getting better. That's something really powerful. I'm never going to be like Ed Sheeran, probably. Almost certainly. But I still love the feeling of creating like a new chord or a new song or something, and I get better every time I play. Mastery is powerful. The final one is a great sense of purpose. And this is one of the hardest ones. Purpose is you saying, I know why I get out of bed and go to work. I understand what I'm doing. And this is a really, really powerful feeling. There's a couple of good stories for this one. I'll give you a short one. 3 men are building, and they are bricklayers. I don't know if you know that word, but you've got the bricks, concrete, cement, and you're building bricks. Yeah? And they go up to the first man and say, what are you doing? And he said, well, it's very simple. I'll get a brick, put it there. Get another brick, put it there, and I'll just keep putting bricks on. Okay. They go to the second man, doing the same job. What are you doing? He said, well, I'm building a wall. Building a wall. Okay. They go to the third man and they ask him, sir, what are you doing? Same job. What are you doing? He said, I'm building a church. And this church is my commitment to God, and it's going to stand for 1,000 years. They're doing the same job. Who do you think feels good about what they're doing? Yeah. Exactly. Purpose is so powerful. When people have something greater that they're working for, it's incredible. A more modern example, watch the videos of SpaceX launching their rockets. And watch the reactions of the employees watching their rockets launch. These people are crying with happiness because they are going to help humanity live on another planet. Even if their job is HR administrator for SpaceX, you're still helping people. This purpose is powerful. So first of all, that's motivation. But secondly, this simple feature, all this is in PowerPoint. There's an option under animations. You select the text and you have it appear every time you click. If you do this, you are in control of the presentation. The presentation is not in control of you. That is one of the fastest tips that will improve your presentation. Don't do this. Don't do this. Please, please, please do this. Things like that. Control the presentation. Don't let it control you. Obviously, the topic of PowerPoint is massive. We could go into it many, many more ways, and I would like to, but I think we still need to get a bit sinful. Before we do, I'd like to ask a question. I'm going to do this one very quickly. I'd like everyone to answer, and we're going to see if we can get kind of an overall one. Question is, what is your favourite cake? Favourite cake? Kolač, torta, whatever, kuski, I don't mind. Favourite cake? Cheesecake? Cheesecake.
Strawberry cake.
Strawberry cake? Chocolate. Chocolate. That's the chocolate aisle, yeah. Strawberry? Cream. No cake, just cream. Okay. Pie. That was a real man's answer, wasn't it? Pie. Pie. Tiramisu, huh? You're just saying that now. Cheesecake? Any fruitcake? No cake. Oh, no favourite. Okay. Oh, no cake. Oh, I'm sorry. That's sad. Go back. Sorry? Did you say steak? A steak cake? Sir, I think we have a new business plan. You like steak? Yeah? You like cake? I'm going to say it, steak cake. Bernik, Apple pie. People at the back, I'm very efficient in my size. I can't see you. Tell me your cakes. Carrot cake? Okay, just give me cake. She's like, just give me cake. I'm going to jump to the front here.
Pudding.
Uh-huh.
From my grandma.
Oh, yeah, that cake. That's a special one, isn't it? Grandma's cake? Chocolate brownie. Wait, like brownies or like brownies? Okay, no, no. Sorry. Both are brownies, right? Chocolate fondant?
Brownies.
All cakes.
There's definitely a chocolate corner here at the moment.
Brownie.
Brownie?
Fruit cheesecake.
Fruit cheesecake, huh?
Banana.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that one, but it does sound nice. I'll try it. Muffins. Mm-hmm.
Pancakes.
Pancakes? Do those count as cakes? You know what? They got it in the name.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
Cheesecakes.
Cheesecakes. Cheesecakes. Palatinki? Okay, great, yeah. Brownies. What?
I don't know in English.
Okay, I'll use my consultant face. Oh, yeah. That's a good one, it's a good one. Any case, there were a couple of people who just die me collage. Just fucking give me to its cake. Cheesecake. Okay. Cheesecake. I've just shouted out from the back. Waffles. Muffins. Cheesecakes. Chocolate cakes. Everybody kika? Cheesecake. I'd like to thank Slovakia for helping me discover my favourite cake. I used to love cheesecake, and I still do love it, but unfortunately the lactose problem, I don't feel good now. So you have makové vishnové strudel. That's pretty good. If you don't speak Slovak, that's a sour cherry and poppy seeds, which is just really, really good. I like that one. Yeah, good stuff. Is anyone else hungry now? That was a terrible question to ask, isn't it? I should have just said like favourite sport or something, but everyone wants cake now. Now, the wonderful thing about cake is great. There's a problem though with cream. Cream is the extra. My friend Tony is a chocolate cake man, so all chocolate cake lovers. Tony's been in business forever. He's a trainer, he's an excellent guy, he taught me a lot. And Tony said the best cappuccino he ever ate was, believe it or not, in a cafe in Poland. He was shocked. I mean, he's been to Italy, he said the best cappuccino was actually in Poland. And he also ordered, he's a kind of Saka cake, you know, the dark chocolate, he loves that one. And they brought him the cake with the szlachacka, spray cream. They did like this one, the sugar that I always imagine. I imagine a French person doing that. Put the sugar. It will be wonderful. Eat it. I don't know, that's probably racist, but English and French, we're like that. That might be racist. I really mean no offence, I do love France very much. So they had that, they also had a scoop of ice cream and a little one strawberry on top. Tony was very upset. Why was Tony upset? Because he asked them for chocolate cake. And what did he get? Cake, plus cream, plus sugar, plus fruit, plus ice cream, maybe even chocolate sauce, I don't know. Got all that extra. If we go back to the Slovak, this is the omáčky. This is the extra stuff that adds no value to what you're doing. I use the word value a lot because it's very important. You don't think about time, you don't even have to think about money, but you have to think about value. If you do want it in monetary terms, we sometimes do it in companies, or we imagine that 50 people in this room, and just for easy mathematics, we'll say that you all earn 1,000 euros a month. Just for easy maths. There's 50,000 euros a month that you earn in salaries in your work. Let's pretend this is a work presentation. 50,000 in a month, that's what, 2,500 a day on average. The 8 working days, that's about 300 an hour or something in salaries? My maths is very rough, don't worry if it's wrong. Which is about 5 euros a minute. So every minute that I speak to you, I'm burning 5 euros of money. Just in your salaries. Every minute I speak to you. I've got this really funny story. It's nothing to do with the presentation, but it's really entertaining. Let me tell you, it'll take about 3 minutes. Is that story worth 15 euros of your salary? And 3 minutes of your time? And all of these things? So many presentations can be made better by cutting them shorter rather than making them longer. My father, I love my father very much for many, many things. I love his energy for telling stories. However, my father's reached the age when a story takes 20 minutes. My father has cancer, and he's getting treatment, and he's okay. And I asked him, so, how's it going? How was the visit to the doctor? And what I'm expecting him to say is, we did the scan, these are the results, this is what the doctor said. And he says, well, it was good actually. We went there, Olive is his girlfriend. Feels weird to say that about a 75-year-old man. Girlfriend, partner, lover, friend with benefits. Friend, let's leave it there. So he said, well, Olive took me there because I can't drive very much. It's very tiring for me. So Olive came and picked me up, and we went there. It was kind of bad traffic on the road, but it was okay. We got to the doctor. She dropped me off at the front door while she went to park around the back, and then she walked, because I walk slowly now with it, blah, 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 blah. And I had this horrible dilemma in my head, because part of me wants to be a kind of respectful, nice son, saying, respect my father. Another part of me said, Dad, are you dying or not? Just like, really tell me. I don't care where she parked. I don't care how you drove. Just get to the point. Unfortunately, my darling wife told me that I sometimes, occasionally, maybe, sometimes do the same thing as my father. Terrible. Get to the point. There's a principle, I believe it's called Chekhov's guns. Chekhov's gun is from a guy called Chekhov, who was, I think, a Russian writer. Please check it, because I'm not sure. And Chekhov made the comment that if you are writing a story and you describe a gun that's hanging on the wall in the living room, then later in the story, somebody kills someone with that gun. Or that gun is the murder weapon. Or that gun doesn't work. Or somehow that gun relates to the story. If the gun is not important, don't mention the gun. Anything that does not add value to your presentation, get rid of it. Get it out. Get it out. This is very common in corporate presentations when people do things like putting up the mission statement of the company. We're bringing new people into the company. We'll put this 50-word mission statement. And I was a horrible person. I loved it. I had 15 people from Zurich Insurance Company. I shouldn't tell you that, but I did. They're from Zurich. And they had the Zurich mission statement. They're like, yeah, we need to train new hires on this one. I said, fantastic. So of the 10 people in this room, you've been working in Zurich about 5 years, each of you. 50 years of experience. They said, yes. I said, so tell me the mission statement of the company. And it's amazing because nobody looked in my eyes. Everyone went, ooh, yeah. Oh my God, what's going on with that one? None of them could tell me. Which means that slide, that mission statement, in terms of that content, was just cream. It was nothing. It was no value to the people. Everything you do should add value. Should always get rid of the cream, there's our matchkey, strip it. Get this presentation as naked as it can be. I often say, think of a presentation as being like a sculpture when you're working with marble. The perfect sculpture happens when you can't take anything more away. That's how you know it's perfect. When everything that's left is exactly what it should be. It's not about adding, it's almost always about removing, which is very important. And let's talk about the final sin that I'm going to put up. I'm not sure if I can do this properly. I'm looking at the picture, I'm going to see if I can... Oh wait, sorry, cocktail. Cocktail. What do you think this is about? What could this be about?
Don't drink.
Don't drink. Yeah, I can't say I've never had a drink before a presentation. Generally, I don't recommend it. It can be fun, it depends on the context. The stupidest thing somebody's ever done, but I had a great time, was a Christmas party. It was brutally cold. They made varene vino, and I arrived, and I was the moderator in English, and they said, you look cold, have some varene vino. That's mulled wine. And I went, thank you very much. And they said, have another. I said, why not? They said, have a microphone. I said, do you think this is a good idea? And I had an incredibly fun time being a drunken moderator. It was the best evening of my life. But what actually made it work, the only thing that made it work is my co-moderator she was like totally deadpan. So I'd be the stupid making jokes, and she'd be like, "Ano, ďakujem, Peťo." And then she'd be back to the point. So actually it worked beautifully. But the key thing is not to do with alcohol. The key thing is to understand what you are saying, but not saying. Your body language and your non-verbal communication. I also include in this the way you use your voice. It's not just the actual body language, but how you use your voice. And understanding the key thing of what is it you are saying to people, but not saying. Have any of you studied body language? Any of you interested in body language? Yeah? Do any of you know how much of your message is body language versus non-body language? 70%, maybe more. Yeah, the numbers change. I looked into the research, I tried to find it. It's actually very hard to pin it down. There are some people who say 90% of your communication is non-verbal. It's famously in the movie Hitch with Will Smith when he's like the dating coach. And he says 60% is your body language, 30% is the tone of your voice, which means 90% of what you say doesn't come out of your mouth. Sounds good, very cool in Hollywood. It's not quite so accurate as you do the research. What's key about this one is I use an English word, and I really need to find a good Slovak translation for it. The word is congruence. Congruence is an English word that means two things are aligned together. That makes sense. And when things are incongruous, they don't match together. And what basically this comes to body language is if your body is saying one thing and your words are saying something else, people believe your body. As an example, I'm just going to turn this one off now. I'd like to sell you this. Oh my god, actually. I just noticed it's got my boss's email on it, so I better not drop it. Okay. Did not know that. Bit more stress now. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to offer you this fantastic Logitech R400. The R400. It is wireless clicker. It's a fantastic presentation tool that will really help free you up so you don't have to be stressed, because it will let you turn on the slides or turn off the slides. It will let you go backwards or forwards, and it's a really good way to just let yourself connect with the audience. You spend more time talking to people instead of clicking the laptop. So you should definitely buy it. Would anyone like to buy it? No? Why not?
It looks like you don't know the product.
Yeah. If you listen to the words that I said, something like, this is an excellent tool that puts you in control of your presentation, it lets you start, lets you stop, control things, and it gives you more freedom to connect with your audience. How do the words sound? It's quite nice words. They're like, oh yeah, that's good. What is my body telling you?
I didn't use it at all.
Uh-huh. Body's telling you I don't know this product?
Yes.
My body's telling you, how do I feel? Or how did I feel?
Nervous.
Nervous? How confident do you think I am? Not confident?
Strongly confident.
Strongly confused, right? All of that. Now the problem with that is we often do this, especially when giving presentations. Quick question. How many people are nervous about giving a presentation? If I asked you to come up in front of the group now and give a presentation, how many of you would be nervous or stressed? Okay, really common. I appreciate that. I respect that. The problem is when we feel that way and we're nervous, what my body is actually saying is, I'm scared that I have to stand up in front of you as an audience and tell you something. But you can't read my mind. So what most people say is, this person doesn't believe his message. This person is not telling the truth. When we have a confusion between body and words, we tend to believe body. You ever been on the bus? This happens to me. I live quite near Pentagon. If you don't know Pentagon, don't visit Pentagon. In Fraconia. And a couple of people got on the bus, and this guy got on. He didn't do it to me, but I saw him near somebody else, and it was that very uncomfortable body language where everything he said was nice. He and his friends sat next to one guy and were like, ahoj. Ako sa máš? Dobre. Dobre. My sme kamaráti. Hey, we're friends. And he had very weird body language. His body language was telling us, like, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to cause you problems. But his words were really friendly. And when that happens, we don't like it. It doesn't feel good to have this messages mixed. So one thing we have to do as presenters is to match our body language to our message. There are many ways we can do that. It depends on our message. It depends on our content. Happy and smiling positive makes sense for positive messages, but don't be like my American boss who'd be like, well, I've got good news and different news. Everybody on this side of the room, I'll see you at work tomorrow. Everybody on this side of the room, you get the chance to find a new opportunity. We're going to let you find that. And it's just like, what? And the funny thing is, all the Americans were okay with that, and there's the English person going like, is this normal? This is weird. So the way we express ourselves, it depends on culture, it depends on many, many factors. Would you like to know some of the things people do? Would you like to see some of the body language that people display? And I've also got a special one just for the ladies, and another one just for the men. What is it that people do with their bodies? Oh, there are many things, but we'll start with the basics. Most people who are nervous, what do nervous people do when they're presenting? People who are scared.
Hiding
How? How would I do that?
behind something what they have.
Ladies and gentlemen, according to Nick, okay, so hiding behind things. Yeah, that's true. That's probably a bad idea. Hiding behind things that people are holding. Papers are very common. Holding up papers, things like that. Standing behind a chair. There are many different things they can do, sure. Other things they do when they're nervous. Playing with, I know, I usually finish a training course with rainbow hands, because I play with pens, so I know that pens go over there. I'm like a child. Don't give me pens. Put them over there. And don't give me Vada Vino, then pens. That's a big mistake. People play with pens, absolutely. People also play, is anyone here married? Or ladies, anyone like to wear something? If you ever see a presenter with a ring, they will do that. It's crazy. Watches. Any ladies wearing bracelets? You got bracelets, sometimes bracelets. Those are kind of common things. Walking. How? Yeah. The way people move tells you a lot. There is a sense of movement in many presentations, which is no problem. Nervous people tend to dance around. And there are different ways. Some people go side to side, which can be quite entertaining. They do that walking. So I'm getting my 3,000 steps every day. That's an important part of my... There's a cardio and presentations. It's good for me. Other people, very common one, I've seen the rocking. They kind of rock back on their heels like this. Side to side is quite good. My friend, I love her dearly, and she's much better now, senior executive, and she would always give presentations like this. She would make really interesting points, and then go back and she'd go there. Robert is a wonderful presenter and a fantastic dancer. Unfortunately, when Robert was giving presentations, his specialty, from the waist up, his body was good, his gestures were strong, his body language was lovely. But if you watch him dancing a waltz, the whole presentation he was dancing a waltz. So this is very common. Another very common, people kind of shift from side to side. Like, it reminds me of kind of a high school dance. You know, remember your first dance and you're like, where do I put my hands? Like you didn't know what to do. Like the guys in particular were like, yeah, that's still true. It's still true. I remember that my very first dance was just like, is this dancing? I don't know. Many people feel that way presenting. Very common one is squeezing fingers. This is very common. I've seen people turn their fingers into klobasa. So it was just like, the presentation was good. Like, he was actually quite good and his voice was quite good and everything was fine until you looked at his hands. The problem is once you look at his hands, you can't look away. Because you really feel like you should make a medical comment. Like, medically, I'm concerned about the health of your fingers. I think maybe that's... It was like that one. That's common. Ladies playing with hair. I mean, guys, you can play with your hair, but it's not that easy. It's not so common. Men sometimes playing with a beard. That one. Was that for me? Oh, it's just standing there on that face. Oh, yeah. Thanks. So look at this. I've already been broken up with, and now you're insulting me. This is a good night. This is fun. Yes, playing with glasses. It could be one. Necklaces. Again, usually women, not men. It can be quite a common one. Obviously, the defensive body language comes out. You get this kind of crossed arms, all the way up to folded arms, and all sorts of things like this. The voice as well. People's voices sometimes get really, really high, or maybe they get. Let's just go pretty quiet. Couple of them out, and all sorts of things like that. If you are like me, when you get nervous, you speak very quickly. I used to be a teacher, and when I did my teacher training, I found that the students had a nickname for me. They called me 30-second Pete. Which is not the best nickname you can have when you're single and there are attractive students in your class, especially without context. 30 seconds it's quality, not quantity. So that's the main thing here. Now, it was 30 seconds because they told each other that, hey, when Pete comes out to teach the English lesson, you won't understand him for 30 seconds. But after that, it'll be fine. And then I watched it. We had a video recording. I watched the video of myself teaching. And I did exactly that. I said, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So today what we're going to be focusing on is the second conditional grammar. We're going to see how these verbs come in with this part of the thing. And after we study this grammar, we will use it in our conversations. The first 30 seconds was just like machine gun, like words. I could do a 10-minute presentation in 30 seconds, which is not a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to do. So these are also ones that are very, very tricky. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference between men and women, though. Would you like to know what the women do that men never do? I've never seen a man do this. Would you like to know what ladies do when they get nervous? Any guesses? So we're talking about, there's obviously the playing with the hair and bracelets. Something special just for the ladies. Legs. Do you do that, ladies? Yeah, you kind of do. Women that get nervous will often go into this awkward crossed legs, and you look like a schoolgirl, like a little girl. Should I stand on a chair? I probably should. That might not be health and safety, I think, probably not, yeah. Just imagine me as a schoolgirl. Kika, why did you ask me to do this? This is a terrible thing. Yes, ladies will get nerves across the legs. What's the problem with this? How does it look? Looks like you need to go to the toilet, or you little, I'm just cute. Don't ignore my presentation. And ladies, if you're ever presenting in a serious context, or professional context, or something where you are making a difference, one of the worst things you can do is undersell yourself. There's a reputation in many business things that women are not as assertive as men. And I don't think that it's true, first of all, but some of the ways that it's expressed, I think it's partly cultural, do make it look this way. A woman talking about a fantastic investment opportunity like this won't be seen as seriously, which is a shame. Men, good news, we don't do that. Never seen a guy doing that. Bad news, boys, we do something else. Do you know what men do?
Maybe the opposite.
Sorry? The opposite? Yeah, we go cowboy. Do. Bonus points if you actually do this. I actually had a presentation. It's like, we've got the best software on the market. It's incredible. Are you interested in what we have? What I'm offering? Would you like it? She said yes! Great success, I'm happy to hear that. Yes, men do the opposite. Men's kind of conditioned response is to kind of go macho. I have literally seen a man inflate. He stood up, said, okay, Yeji, it was a Czech Republic, Yeji, your presentation's next. Okay. So I'd like to talk about that. Thank you, everybody. It's like, oh, Yeji, he never even realized he was doing it. Men have the risk of being overconfident, arrogant, and aggressive. Women run the risk most of the time of being kind of nervous and kind of, ooh, I'm feminine and not serious. These are one of the few differences between men and women. I've never seen a woman do this or this. That would be weird. That would be weird. Cowgirl. But I've also never seen a man do this. So it's something that we do need to be strongly aware of. Body language is a topic we can go into a lot more detail. I will mention one more thing is very important is your eyes. The way you make eye contact with people is very, very powerful. If you don't look at people we don't trust you. We don't trust people who don't make eye contact. And people who spend their whole time talking down or talking to the side or talking away, it just loses the impact. Either they look very nervous or they look like we can't trust them. Eye contact should go to everybody. You probably won't be able to make eye contact with every single individual in a room of this size. I'm doing my best. I think I've looked at everybody. That sounds weird. Don't worry, I've looked at you all. I like what I see, mostly. That eye contact with people is important. However, eye contact is a balancing act. Too little eye contact that moves too quickly through everybody in your audience is very weird. If you spend your time looking at everybody really, really quickly as you go through the audience and you talk, people start to find this uncomfortable because it's not natural. On the other hand, if you make eye contact with just one person, keep talking to them. And yeah, I like your glasses, they're very nice. And you continue the presentation. It's a wonderful thing that happens because two people in the room feel like they're in a very special place. And I don't know if it's a good special place or a bad. I'll ask you in a moment. The 48 people in the room are wondering whether they should call the police or leave us in private. I say leave us in private. How do you feel? How are you feeling right now? Very good. Wonderful, wonderful. Special. Yes, special indeed. Special. That's an important thing. So this is kind of the component of body language. There's no shortcut to it. You can study body language, but there is no shortcut other than just doing it. I'll say that. I didn't get over kind of body language and nerves by studying it. I got over it by doing many presentations. I can do about hundreds and hundreds of presentations. It got better and it got better over time. Same thing will happen to you. I'd be happy to talk more about body language, but I'd like to do something else now. We covered 7 sins of presenting. Can you remember them? Let's check that. What do you remember? What do you remember?
You instead of I.
Okay, so using you instead of I. Anything else?
Zen garden.
Zen garden.
No, it's about that.
No cream. It's about them. Nice. Pretty good.
Skip to the door.
Excuse me?
Skip to the door.
Skip the...
Skip to the door.
Skip to the dog. Okay. I was like, skip the Q dog. What? I really didn't drink. I'm sure I didn't drink. Okay, running through it. So your first one, first impressions. You don't get a second chance to make them. And an important note, these begin from the moment people can see you. So the moment some of you saw me today walking around in my hoodie, looking bored and tired, that was already a first impression. It's before you're even starting. It's very important. You talk to the wrong audience. You don't talk to the audience, you talk about yourself, or you talk to them in the wrong way. You missed the biggest question. What's the biggest question? What is it everybody asks? What's in it for me? Why should I care about your presentation? Why do you deserve my time with this message? If you can answer that for me, I'm 100% yours. If you give me a good answer, I'm yours. If you don't, I'm mentally checked out, even if I'm physically there. Another key sin, you remember the guitar? Yeah. 25/5 to 28-inch scale, yeah, fan fret. Exactly. Overcomplication is death. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't murder people with PowerPoint. I heard a great phrase, most people don't use PowerPoint. They abuse PowerPoint. It's terrible. And don't do that. Simplify, clean it up, use your visuals in a way that helps you. Cream is wonderful on cakes, if you're okay with lactose. So for you, it's great. It's not for me. But definitely not in presentations. Bezomaczki. Get rid of everything that's not valuable. You can learn a lot from filmmakers here. Watch films, how much they're cut and edited. It's very, very powerful. And the last point as well is don't confuse people with your body language. Please don't do it. At this stage, I will not take questions yet, because I'm going to give you a last quote, a story, a painful one, and then a challenge. Quote about theory and practice. In theory and practice are the same thing. If you know what to do, you do it. Simple. In practice, they are not the same thing. We know that. Everybody knows that. Has anybody here ever heard of mixed martial arts? Or the Ultimate Fighting Championship? or cage fighting. Right. It's a kind of like a kickboxing, wrestling, violent, kill each other sport. I used to train this briefly. In 6 months I got injured 7 times, so not recommended. Now I'm already old for it. And I did one fight. I had one fight against a friend of mine. His name was Jojo. We knew we were friends, but we wanted to try it once. We said, let's test ourselves. Let's do it. Let's fight. Now Jojo was bigger than me, and he was a very good wrestler. But I was much faster than him, and I had a really good background in kickboxing. Simple plan. What would you do when he's big, and he's a wrestler, and you're fast and you're a kickboxer? Just run around and kick him. Just run around him and kick him, no problem. And indeed, that is how the fight began. Yeah, that's our instructor. He was the referee, and kind of all our friends are around the cage shouting out advice. It's brilliant because I watched the video. They're shouting really good advice, like 1, 2, kick, move to the side, and all I heard was. I don't hear anything. I love this photo because check it out. Yeah. And now nothing. It's all gone, but it's like bam. Yeah, that's why it's like check it. Dangerous. Indeed, that's how the first round began. Unfortunately, a terrible thing happened to me. There are 2 terrible things. I blame him and then him, in order. The instructor was explaining the rules to everybody, because not everybody knows the rules of the fight. So he said, okay, it's 3 rounds, 3 minutes. These are the rules. Obviously, no kicking between the legs, no poking in the eyes, and just kind of explaining the rules. And then he said one sentence that changed it. He said, now, Jojo, Peter, if one of you gets cut from a punch or a kick and you start bleeding, we don't stop the fight unless we need to call the ambulance. And I remember at that moment, I still remember this, Jojo was on one side of the cage, I was on the other side, and at that we were doing the macho thing, like, yeah, I'm ready, yeah, good luck, yeah. And then he said this, if you get cut, unless we need an ambulance. And at the same time, Jojo and I both went, huh? What? Round 1, ding ding! And we started the fight, and it kind of was okay for a bit until he threw a punch that was a sort of like a didn't hit me, it was really close, and my brain did a stupid, terrible thing. My brain said to me, that punch nearly hit you. If that hits you, that's going to hurt a lot. We don't want to get punched. You know what we should do? Let's go close to him and grab him. Let's wrestle him, because then he can't punch us. Yeah. Didn't work out very well. Didn't end very well. This is round 3. So by the end of the fight, I'm on the ground. The only thing that really saved me was we were so tired by the end of the fight that he's pinning me down and he's like, and I'm like, just fucking protect me like that. So yeah, it didn't go down very well. If anyone here is masochistic, friend me on Facebook. There is a video. In all my glory of getting my butt kicked. But if you watch just the first round, just watch the first round. That's what that looked good. So now comes the challenge for you. Is there anyone who would like to stand up now and give a presentation to the room? Any one of you who'd like to stand up? I think we've got time for, say, 1, 2 people. Very short presentation, and I'll give you a simple one. We need a topic. My suggestion is, what's your favourite hobby or sport or activity you do for fun, and why? I'm talking for 2 minutes. This is vodka if anybody wants some. It's not, by the way. Anyone? Any volunteers? Nie, musíte? Можете. You can get feedback.
I'll do it.
I thought you might. Okay. What's that? Thank you very much. Pleasure. Floor is yours.
Okay. So, hello everyone. So I did it for the sole reason that I have no space to practice this, so thank you. Anyway, so one of the best hobbies I picked up was 6 months ago, where I started journaling. So I've been journaling for 157 days, and it's a great experience, and it provides a way to organize my thoughts. I have all kinds of mess going on in my head, and it's a challenge to, take good care of it and, make some kind of order. And writing provides precision. And that's it.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
That was incredible. Martin, would you like some feedback?
Sure.
Okay, we can test it with the audience. What did Martin do that you liked?
Have courage.
Hey, yeah. Number one, you stood up and did it. Most people are too scared to do that. So just by standing up, you're already stepping up. Excellent. Anything else? Yeah, bezomashki. Get to the point, like his journal.
Good voice.
Yeah. Very, very powerful voice, very clear message. Well, we'll ask the other question. Is there anything you would suggest to Martin? Anything he could do differently? Or do more effectively?
It wasn't 2 minutes.
Hey, quality, not quantity, right? Yeah, we do.
At the beginning, I didn't say I didn't have time to prepare it, because he showed that he hadn't done it all.
Okay. I understand. So the idea was, you don't usually apologize for a mistake. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't prepared this one.
Did I say that?
I think you did. But in the context here, I think it makes sense. In a real presentation, I can't imagine you would say that.
I remember I said that. I said that I wanted to do this because I don't have enough space to practice.
You did say that. So, okay, great.
Like a setting where I could practice speaking.
I know, I do it in front of the mirror. And sometimes I like myself, sometimes I don't. Give a presentation like, you suck! But also, you're awesome now. Now, Martin, I liked very much what you did. I liked the way you kind of connected with people. I thought the gestures were strong. You stood in a very confident way, and your voice is there. I can tell that you've had a chance to speak. Maybe not in terms of practice, but in real settings. The only thing I would be aware of, and this is one problem I have as a trainer, I have to think where I sit, because a great deal of your presentation was made to me. I felt special. But everybody on this side of the room, you run the risk of losing the audience, particularly the people here. So very important, when we're in a room, we speak to everybody in the room. You will always have favourites. There'll always be the smiling person or the one you know. Don't play favourites. But I thought it was very well done. Very well done. You're welcome.
I have a question.
Please.
So what do you do about the anxiety? So everyone gets nervous when
Okay.
they get up. So
how about we take this into a question session, right? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so the first question.
how do you break down the anxiety? Can you do like, hey everyone, I'm really nervous about this presentation, like break it down with everyone, like
Okay.
be offhand?
So the key question, do any of you have the question? How do you deal with the fear? With the nerves, with that feeling? You know, when you've got to give a presentation, sweating, shaking? Some ideas. Any ideas? Breathing, yes. Breathing is good. If you don't breathe, you're probably not going to give a good presentation. Absolutely. Yeah, breathing is key. Slowing down and breathing is very important. A very common one is people come and go, hello everybody, I'm going to give my presentation, and they're just straight into it. Stop, take a second, breathe, and present. Okay, other ways to deal with your fear. Yeah, obviously, the better prepared you are, the less stressed it will be. This content, these 7 sins, I've never given this presentation before, but every single thing in the topic, every single part of the topics, I presented many, many times. I present in my head, I present in the shower, I present to the baby. He's not very good at listening. I present to clients as well. If you see me walking around Bratislava, I'm probably not crazy. I'm probably practicing a presentation. Preparation, key. The other one is practice. You just do it. The more presentations you do, the less stress you will feel. A great place to break fear of presentations is a public speaking club called Toastmasters International. There are at least 4, I'll write it up afterwards, Toastmasters. There are at least 4 in Bratislava. There are 2 or 3 English language ones, there's a Slovak language, and there's a German one that I know of, and maybe there are more now. And there's public speaking clubs where you just get a chance to stand up and talk. It's not necessarily a great place to learn all the skills, but if you want to break the fear, how many presentations have you given in your life? How many presentations have you given, approximately? 50? Approximately. 20? So 12? I've probably given, I don't know, 2,000. And I'm not super skilled, it's just the first 50 were not that good, and then the next 50 were a bit better, and then the next 100 were improved again. I've just done it a lot of times.
So what's a good place to actually train if you don't want to go to Toastmasters?
If you don't want to go to Toastmasters, there are a lot of training courses. Maxman Consultants is there are a lot of training courses I can recommend. The big one is to have active training. There is, I'm not sure whether I should recommend this one. I heard very good things about silný rečník.sk. It's also called Speak Up training. I think it's about €400 for 3 days presentation skills training. Obviously, Maxman Consultants runs training skills. If you would like to do a presentation skills here in Maxman, we'd be happy to do it for you. I'm really not trying to sell it now. I'm not selling to you. But if you'd like to do it, we can do courses, and if you get 5, 6, 10 of you together, then the price goes down for everybody. Be more than happy to do it. Training courses are a very good way. There's a lot of good material online. The real challenge is you've got to stand up and do it.
What do you think about practicing with video?
With video?
Video.
Video can be good, particularly if somebody can kind of go through it with you and analyze it for you. Video is horrible because you see everything. You know, I don't do that. You watch the video and go, oh shit, yeah I do. But I didn't mean to do that. Video is very valuable. I often say video yourself when presenting. I don't want to watch it. It's watching me, but I'll have to watch it later. Because you learn a lot about what you do. So video is a good one. Do it at work. Every time you get an opportunity to present, do it. If you get a chance to stand up in a meeting or in kind of in your classroom, do it. Just try it. And I often ask, what's the worst thing that happens? In most of the presentations, if you totally fail the presentation, so what? Nobody dies. Nothing fails most of it. Will it matter in 20 years? Will you say, oh my God, 20 years ago when that presentation went wrong, when my PowerPoint didn't work? Probably, if you lost $10 million from your investors, maybe, but generally not. So there's a key one of practicing. Those are kind of the key ones for nerves. You can also do power posing. You know power posing?
Fake it till you make it.
Actually, you should fake it until you become it. If you do stuff like this, they've done the research. Check it out on TED. I'll put the thing. If you do this or something similar for 2 minutes, you will actually increase your confidence and decrease your stress. And not just in the sense that you feel good, in that they measured the stress and the hormones. Stress hormones go down. You actually change your body chemistry by doing this. If you are too confident and too successful though, good news, just do this. For 2 minutes, and you will have the opposite effect. You will make yourself less confident, and you will increase your stress. I'll write the link to the video. Thank you for the question. Is there anything else I can help with? Questions from anybody? Or anyone else who wants to stand up and give a presentation? Of course. Yeah, sure. Go for it. Welcome to. You got the dramatic walk as well. It's good to see you again.
Hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to speak about one person sitting in this room. And it's about him. So, I know Peter. Do you know me?
I do.
Do you remember me?
I do.
Okay, guys. In my company, we had this kind of classes where he teach us how to speak, how to make a presentation, and he was able to speak about diving in Slovak language. He's an immigrant. He doesn't know Slovak language good. Well, you study today, but he was so confident and so good that I wouldn't do it better in that time. Thank you.
Thank you. I did not pay him for this. You know the crazy thing? He paid me, or his company paid me for this. No, excellently done. Okay. Would you like feedback?
Yeah, sure.
What would you say? Bear in mind, this man has had training. What did you like?
I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Body language was quite good.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very nice. Any other points?
It's easy to do museum and just like exactly instead of calling violin.
Indeed. Which is? I'm sorry, I'm terrible. My name is Peter, just in case, for those of you who don't know, so my name is Peter. Okay? Any suggestions then?
More confidence would be.
Okay, and how would you see that confidence?
Louder.
Okay, so you have volume of the voice. Especially, I have this advantage, which actually is coming through the speakers there. If you don't, then you need to be able to project your voice. Yeah, that is a key one. However, building on what I've seen before, based on that one, you've definitely boosted a lot. Are you doing the Wednesday?
Yeah.
They do, by the way, in their company they set up, and every Wednesday they do presentations to each other. Just practicing. It's also a great way to practice as well. So, you've improved a lot. I like the fluency, I like the way you use your gestures. Just be aware of how you're moving. I don't think it's a problem, just be aware of it, I would say. Very nice. I like the improvement. I really didn't pay him to be here. I didn't even expect him to be here. But it's been fun. But yeah, I'm happy about it. That's good for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done, yes. So then I'll open it. Any more questions? I feel really embarrassed now, like. Thanks for that. Yeah. Any more questions? Anything I can help you with? Anything that's unclear? Please.
How long does it take to do that presentation?
17 minutes and 42 seconds.
Okay.
How long does it take to prepare a presentation? Terrible question I have to answer with. How long's your presentation? How difficult is it? How much do you know the topic? This presentation, for example, this was 20 slides or something. It's about one hour something long. This took me about 25 minutes to put the slides together. About 10 minutes to put the ideas together. It took me about 20 minutes to find the idea, like how am I going to start this presentation? And then I came up with the idea of doing it all wrong at the beginning. And after that, the rest of it just kind of came together. But it depends. I've also done this topic many, many times. When it's a totally new training, new presentation, it's very hard to answer that. I would always say start with your message, content, and understand how it connects to your audience way before you go into any of the details and the numbers and everything. Always focus on the audience first. That's the first one. But in terms of, I would practice every presentation at least 3 or 4 times more than I present it. So this 1 hour presentation, I would do 3 or 4 hours of practice for it. And I have done that, but not today because I've kind of done it before, if it's a serious presentation. It gets faster over time. That's not a very good answer, I feel. Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Anything? Any comments?
What if I know the theory and I practice and I'm persuaded that I am well prepared?
Okay.
But then during the presentation I see that I'm losing the audience. What would you recommend to do?
Okay.
How can I save it?
Okay, so keeping the audience engaged. Even the most interested people on a topic, we get tired. We want to check our phone. We get a text message or something like that. How can we keep the attention of the audience? I hope that I have kept your attention this evening, mostly. How did I do it?
Ask a question.
Okay, asking a question, interaction is a key one. Give me a simple question. What's still unclear? What would you like to know? Or it can be a recap. So tell me, what's the most important question? What's the most important question? Thank you. It's always one. Okay, so asking questions can be one. Other things you can do?
Silence. Just pause.
Maybe a break.
Yeah, here's silence. Okay, so you take a break. Yeah, silence can be a good one. Silence brings people's attention back. When people stop talking, they focus on it. Telling a joke in a certain context can be a good one, making reference. I often ask people questions to kind of engage them, choose specific people. A good rule of thumb, if you can, change something in your presentation every 10 minutes. Or 10 or 15 minutes, change something. So change the style, change where you move, change if it's visual, play a video, ask questions, have a discussion, change something part way. Worst case, I've even seen it done, and I've even done it that, forgive me. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't feel this is working. I don't feel we're connecting with this one, and I don't want to waste your time. So how can I make this better for you? I've done that when it seemed to be wrong, and it turned out there was a miscommunication, and they told me something, and I quickly changed the entire training course in my lunch break, which was not the plan. That can be something, and if they say, look, we're just not interested in the topic, what would you do then? This topic's just not interesting for us? What would you say? Sorry?
There's the door.
Well, yes, but I mean, I wouldn't say it quite that way. Well, do you think you'd even like it or... No,
Ask them, what would you like to learn?
Yeah.
Or
What would you like to learn? Yeah, what can I help? If for any reason you are unable to do that, and say, look, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the topic for you. Let's find another time to make a right topic for you. I don't want to waste your time. We'll finish now. We'll talk more soon, okay? End the presentation. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. People would much prefer that than just continuing on.
Ask questions so we know that the audience understands.
Yeah, and obviously summarising, checking questions is really key if you want them to take away. Any more questions?
How do you deal with this radio silence if there are no questions at the end of the presentation?
I cry. Silently. I make jokes, I know it. No, but there is that danger of... Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, any questions? No? Oh, checking your hair. Okay. Yeah, that's a horrible feeling that kind of nobody's interested. You've got a couple of options. One is to end the presentation. Okay, no problem. If you do have questions, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to talk to you later, or come and see me after the presentation. That's option one. Then you go into your conclusion and ending. Another one you can do is to kind of ask the question. Now, a lot of people have asked me in this topic, how do I deal with nerves? How do I deal with being scared when presenting? Now, we have been asked that question, how do you deal with nerves? Many times if it's not asked, I ask the question. Loads of people are scared in presenting. Who here is scared? Some people scared? Yeah. How do we deal with those nerves? And then I ask the question to myself. You can also have a kind of a plan so that I might ask Kika, hey Kika, if nobody asks a question, please ask the first question, because nobody really wants to be the first one to talk. Usually after the first question, other people go. Those are the ones. If there are no questions, straight into conclusion and end the presentation. I'll give a chance for one more question just based on time, and then we'll wrap up. Does anyone have one more question? A question I'm often at. No, I value your time for that one. Well done to those who spoke. Well done to everybody. A very important lesson for all presentations, for all good things. You end on a high. You don't end on a low. You don't finish and go, well, no questions. So, thank you very much. Bye. You don't end that way. The ending of your presentation is almost as important as the beginning. First impressions are key. The ending is important. Take a lesson from advertising. If you watch a McDonald's advert, what is the last thing you will see and the last thing you will hear in every McDonald's advert? Da 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 da. I'm loving it. Every time. Do you know why? The last thing you hear is one of the first things you remember. The final words are some of your most important words, which is why I always put questions before my conclusion. Because if I don't get questions, which happens, people are tired, they're not interested. No questions? That's my ending, which is a very weak ending. You end on a high, you end powerfully. So if I'm going to end tonight, I will technically not end yet, but never mind. I will simply say, ladies and gentlemen, it has been very, very fun to speak to you this evening. I hope you have started to look at presentations and look at your way of communicating with people in a different way. I hope that you are challenged. I hope that you want to improve. Because I will tell you, I have met 642 people in training courses. Yes, I am actually sad enough to count every single person I've trained. 642 people, and none of those people were average in their creativity, their ideas, or their ability to be good. Some of them were average in their skill level, but they had much more potential and ability. And I believe that's true of everybody in this room. What makes me very sad, and what should make you really sad, is if you don't have the ability to connect your creativity and ideas to other people and to the world. That's what the skill of speaking in public is about. And I challenge all of you to develop this skill, because there may be the next world-changing idea, or the next connection, or the next improvement in life inside you. If it stays inside you, it dies inside you, and nothing changes. So take these skills, take the things you've heard today, take your ideas, and get out there and share it with people and make a difference. Most people are too scared to stand up here and speak. Don't be like most people. Thank you.